Welcome to the Momnesia podcast, a podcast for moms where we share the stories we want to remember and the ones we wish we could forget. We're your hosts, Julie Short and Sarah McLaughlin.
Hey, Julie.
Hey, Sarah.
Let's catch up.
Yeah, girl.
Tell me what's going on in your world. We have a big holiday coming up.
Oh, yes. It is Halloween time.
Do you guys do anything? Are you Halloween people?
Well, Matthew was definitely excited to get the Halloween decorations out.
Okay.
And I think that was precipitated by us looking at Halloween costumes.
Okay.
He definitely had a few specific things that he was wanting to dress up. Top choice was Black Panther.
Okay.
Mom, if you can't find that, then I want the Black Power Ranger. And if you can't get that, then I want the Iron Man. And then, okay, bud.
All right.
I hear you.
Okay.
Let's look at the Black Panther first.
Now, would you try to make these or where do you?
Girl.
Okay.
Amazon Prime.
Okay.
No, I do not make.
Okay.
So we start looking at them. Some of the first ones are like $50. I'm not paying $50 for a Halloween costume.
Okay.
But we find one that's in our price range, and he already has the two claw hands and the mask that lights up from, I guess that would have been Christmas. Oh, or his birthday.
Okay.
Yeah. Some other holiday that he got these gifts from family and friends. So we find it arrives in the mail.
Uh-huh.
It is like Christmas morning when he opens this package, and it's one of those costumes that have like the fake muscle suit kind of built into it.
Kind of padded in.
Oh my gosh. His eyes, he was so happy, and he was just running around the house, and he kept wanting to go look in the mirror. He loves his Black Panther costume.
That's awesome.
Lots of Wakanda Forever going on.
Now, I haven't seen Black Panther.
You
I don't even know. I don't even know what to picture for this.
Well, you need to go see it, but it is essentially a all black uniform costume. It is very muscular. It looks like a superhero.
Okay.
And it is a black mask that looks cat-like.
Okay.
Panther.
Uh-huh. Right.
And it lights up purple. It's
the stuff.
It sounds like stuff, man.
So
he loves it.
When you say decorate, does he want to do like indoor candy basket or outside scary or what?
No, yeah. He wants our indoor Halloween decorations. And those have kind of been passed down from my mom. My mom gave me some that my grandmother made. They're like,
what?
Yeah, they're kind of cool. One is it's a ceramic witch. And man, I always used to be so scared of that witch. She's got a green face. It really looks like the Wizard of Oz. And a ghost and some pumpkins. So, we've got the pretty basic traditional. We don't have a ton, but he loves putting them out. So he was really excited to do that this weekend. You guys have, real quick before we go to your girls, I'm a little, I don't want to say disappointed. Disappointed is not the word, but Mary Kate, she's my leader. She's strong.
Right.
And she usually picks really strong female characters for Halloween.
Tell us.
She was Princess Leia.
Uh-huh.
She was Rey from Star Wars.
Okay.
She was Hermione Granger.
Okay.
This year, she wants to be a unicorn.
Oh, man.
I know.
Maybe she's seen all those shirts that are out about unicorns ruling the world and stuff.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
Maybe there's a backstory, Jules.
Yeah, I need to dig deeper into that.
Yeah, that does seem like it's
an aberration.
Fluffy.
Yep, a little fluffy. I don't think of Mary Kate as fluffy, but maybe she's got a side that's developing that I'm not aware of yet.
Soren really wants to be a rapper with two of our girls that live on the street.
Love it.
It's G Money
and Special
Papa
Sauce
H or something like that. And then Soren is S Diddy.
Okay.
Yeah. And they made a rap and everything.
Nice. So they came up with these names?
They came up with the names.
Do they not know that there is a G Love?
I have no idea. I didn't.
Oh, okay. Yeah. G Love and Special Sauce. Got to look them up.
Okay. All right. That's my next thing tonight.
Well, one thing I love about your family is the twins. You always have great costumes for the twins.
I kind of have gone all out with the twins because, I mean, it's the twin thing and it's like I can kind of create a storyline with two of them. So the first year, let's see, they were born in August of 2015. And I think it was actually Kimberly Majeski, who's one of our guests on the podcast. She texted me that day and was like, when are you going to post what the twins are? And I was like, oh man, the twins are 2 months old. It hasn't really been top of the totem pole to design their Halloween costumes.
Yes.
And I was like, man, what do I have? Okay, I should do something. And I don't know why. There's something wrong with my brain. This is what came to mind. But the first thing that came to mind was Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan. And this was like pre I, Tanya and all that stuff. Yeah. So it wasn't like back in the mainstream circuit. But I found the little, I made their ice skates out of foil and used a flashlight for the battery stick and
and you had them laying.
I had them laying down. Yeah. I'll have to post that.
Yes. It had the Olympic rings. It was great.
But one of them happened to be crying. It was easy to say, which one do I put the flashlight in?
Here's Nancy.
This one's crying and this one is waving a flag, so to speak. I think it was the first time I used an emoji on top of a picture. I was feeling pretty proud of myself.
Nice.
But then they have been Wayne and Garth from Wayne's World and Thelma and Louise, Laverne and Shirley. So the good thing is they're 3 and they'll want to pick something this year. But the bad thing is they may want to pick something this year and I may have no say and it may not coordinate. Oh. I may have one that wants to be Mario, like Big Brother.
And the other does not want to be Luigi.
Wilma from the Flintstones or something.
That is going to be a travesty.
I know. So yeah, it is fun though. The kids they did a lemonade stand at the end of summer because they wanted to save money to buy outdoor Halloween decorations. They were really, you know what? Okay. So
kids are awesome.
This was September when this actually happened. That Soren, my oldest, told me that she had everyone's Christmas presents planned.
Oh my goodness.
She is like a holiday. She lives for planning events and holidays. So they have been like talking about Halloween. I wouldn't even say that we ever made a big deal out of Halloween, but they do.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So what else is going on? You have anything else coming up?
I am getting ready to travel.
Okay, where are you going?
I'm going to San Diego.
Ooh.
Yay. I'm excited to see some friends out there. I'm going out there for a company, I guess, what are they called? Conferences, I guess. I'm a part of a direct sales company, New Skin. And this is their America's conference. And so I'm excited to go out there and be with my team and do some fun team building stuff and mindset training. I feel like I'm going to be a Jedi when I get back. I'm going to be able to control things with my mind.
Will you be there over Halloween then, or?
Oh, no. It's just a weekend. Yeah.
You'll just be a Jedi in your mind, but you might be
when I come back, I'll be a Jedi for the rest of my life.
Oh, the rest of your life. Wow.
Yes. It is very effective training. So I'm pretty excited about that.
So what, how many people are on your team? Do you know?
Oh, man. In my downline, I have hundreds, but I don't.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I'm the only person from my leg going.
Okay.
With kind of the leaders of the team.
Okay. So, are you close with some of the other people going, or will this kind of be
okay? Yeah. I'm very excited. Cool. We have a very close-knit team. So I I do love going to these team events because a lot of them live all over the country. So it's always fun to be able to spend time with them.
Cool.
And then you've got a trip coming up too, girl.
I do.
The big birthday trip.
Big 4-0. So I am going to Rosemary Beach area. And
lovely.
I've never been there, but I actually heard about it from your sister, my sister-in-law. And then some other friends brought it up. So I'm going with 7 other of my girlfriends, and they're all people I met pretty much from about 8 years old to 20 years old.
Oh, wow.
About in there. So old friends, and they're all going to fly in from different places, and we get a week without kids, and
that's going to be fun. And okay, I have to gently poke fun at you because of something you said.
Uh-oh.
There are spreadsheets or surveys for this vacation?
Surveys.
Please explain.
Okay, I'm not really strategic enough to have put that together, but one of the girls going, her name's Bethany.
Hey, Bethany.
We'll call her Bethany.
Okay. We will change her name.
We'll call her Bethany.
Bethany.
So she actually plays bass in our band. And there have been times where I'm like, do you guys remember we played this tune 3 years ago at the Heartland Film Festival, and I want to bring it back out? And she'll be like, you know what? In my spare time today, in between my other 6 jobs, I went ahead and alphabetized your music library. This is the type of stuff she does. She's amazing.
I love her.
Teacher of the year. Like she's, amazing. So I've known her a long, long time, and she is going on this trip. So she texted me and she's like, so I was thinking I would put together a spreadsheet and a survey. And it was like, and she's also very funny. So it's hilarious. Like there's parts that are just asking about food preferences, but the options, instead of saying, I don't really like to cook, it's like, I would prefer the hot butler to bring my lunch on blah, blah, blah. So, and then it kind of got carried away. So we came up with some other, I won't say equally ridiculous because hers has some practicality to it, but some other ridiculous surveys that we sent back.
Love it. I want to meet this girl. You know, I love spreadsheets.
Yes.
You know, I love pivot tables. And so if there's a way to start organizing vacations with surveys, I want in.
Yes.
Okay. I need to meet Bethany. Well, I hope you have a great trip celebrating your 40th.
Thank you.
Take advantage of all the sleep that you can get. And
except I have serious FOMO. I know I'll want to sleep in, but like the thought that everyone might be up, or I could always sleep when I get back.
Girl, you're not going to sleep when you get back.
No, I'm not. Yeah.
You're not going to.
But yeah, thank you. You have fun too.
Thank you. I hope they shower you with gifts and words of affirmation and free drinks.
Well, you know what? I have a whole thing planned where I got them gifts.
Hey, you're a giver.
Thank you. I'm a giver.
You're
what are you going to do? I
have
this little special thing I found on Etsy. But yeah, I'm excited.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's turn the table a little bit here and get ready to bring on Kimberly. Tell us a little bit about Kimberly. She's one of your dearest friends.
Yeah. So Kimberly and I first met. I was serving as the worship leader for Anderson University's chapel service with the students. And she came, honestly, I can't tell you what year that was, but I know it was at least 10 years ago. And maybe even 15 years ago. And
we are getting old.
Yeah, we are getting, I'm going to break a hip here. She came on staff as the campus pastor and oversaw spiritual development with the students. And I got to say, we didn't have a ton in common at that point, other than we both worked at a college. We were women and we were going to work with students, but she had a real Southern belle thing going on, which you'll hear about in this interview. And you know her, you see it. And man, we became fast friends, and she has seriously challenged me in my faith to dig deeper and to read new things and to just see spirituality in a new way. So really pumped that she's coming on the show.
So am I. Let's bring her in.
Well, welcome, Kimberly Majeski. We are so glad to have you. And I just off the top of my head even could think of 1,000 things I could either say that would just amaze everyone, or things I want to ask you about just because personally, as a friend, you are always like, you have a new angle at thinking on things. And that is so
we go way
great.
back.
We do go way back. In fact, I didn't really think about this before now, but even last week, I was having a major meltdown about some gray hairs that I found. And
so ridiculous.
It's a little ridiculous, but obviously it wasn't really about the gray hairs, but it was tapping into all kinds of stuff. And she's like, zip it, get the hair dye, move forward, sister.
This is a fixable problem.
Right. It is.
Yes. There are so many things beyond the scope of what we can we can handle.
But when it comes to academia, politics, lots of big things, I will go to Kimberly to talk it through. I'll also go for little things like hair dye, though, and your favorite wine, eyelashes. Yes. Southern girl. So before we kind of talk and interact a little more and get to the stories, tell us a little bit about who you are professionally and your family life.
Okay. Well, I am an associate professor at Anderson University. My field is biblical studies and Christian ministries. So I teach predominantly biblical studies courses in the New Testament and preaching courses. So I love that. I've been a full-time professor since 2008. And before that, I was the campus pastor at the same university. So I love watching things grow. And so I've always really been passionate about working with people, equipping people. And so that it's kind of right up my alley. I really enjoyed that part of my career. And then about 10 years ago, I started a not-for-profit called Stripped Love, which is a ministry to women who are victims of domestic sex trafficking and commercial sex exploitation. And that's taken up a lot of energy and time. And it's a heart, passion, and justice work, and something I feel really called and committed to. And I kind of function, the word says CEO, but the way that I function in that role is kind of chief visioneer and storyteller. So
right.
I'm kind of anymore the talking face on the stage.
Sure. Kimberly, before we go further, if people want to find out more about that, where should they go?
Yeah, striplove.org is our website. You can find us also on Facebook and the Twitter and Insta. We have all of our accounts are under Strip Love. So thanks for that. Yeah.
Yes.
We just came through a major campaign. Thanks you guys for being helping us share the word for that. We just came through a major campaign trying to raise awareness and help empower women to be fearless. And so we're coming down off that. But that was obviously a big part of a big chunk of my life and time over the last few months.
Such important work, too.
Yeah. And then I'm a mom. I became a mom when I was 41. And I have a 3-year-old at home. He will be 4 in 2 weeks. We have a big Paw Patrol party.
Happy birthday.
Hey, Max. And I'm married to Kevin, who we've been married. It'll be 20 years this next summer.
Oh, wow.
And he is a realtor. So if you see him, let me know.
Okay. Say no more. So, there are so many ways you're gifted in your role, but it's also, there's that old saying about I think the last time I heard someone say, and I can't quote it exactly, was they were talking about having a female pilot on a commercial airline. And they were saying, I just feel so much more comfortable when there's a female pilot because I know if they made it in a man's world, then they must be really extra good.
They must be the best.
And it was, I can't remember the exact phrase and quote they used to follow that up. But, with what you're doing, I see there is a fierce leadership that in a lot of ways in the pastoral world, academic world, I look at you and I think you have, it's like turbo power to kind of figure out how to navigate amongst a lot of men in that world. Would you say that's the way it is?
Yeah. And even before I was called to ministry, my undergraduate degree is in political science. So as you both know, my favorite topics are politics and religion, which makes me a lot of fun at parties.
Right.
But
don't sit next to Kimberly.
Right.
But so that world was too dominated by men. So if it's just us girls talking, I kind of get off on that. Sure. The women who I work to pour into and equip and empower, I kind of say for anyone to even look your way, you're going to have to be 10 times better than every man who's applying for the same position you are.
Yeah.
And so Jesse Jackson said the greatest deterrent for discrimination is excellence. And so I've always tried to work really, really hard and know my subject, know my field, do the best that I can, and then kind of just let God lead the way. And it's worked out okay so far.
Yeah. You are a fireball in that regard, really. Okay. So Julie, I'm going to turn it over to you and you turn the corner for us to the stories here.
Yes. Well, one of my favorite things about Kimberly is her excellent ability to tell a story. And that is exactly why we've brought you here today, because we love to hear your stories. So Kimberly, we would love to hear from you, your story you want to remember and a story you wish you could forget. Where are you going to take us first?
So the first story, the story that I want to remember, the one that's hidden in my heart, the one that's just the most beautiful thing ever, is the adoption of my son. And both of you know the story well. But I was 41 years old. We had, to be honest, I never thought I would be a mother.
Okay.
I wanted to have a career. Growing up as a young girl in the 80s, moms were either stay-at-home moms or working moms. There were no moms who could do both things. My mom was a single mom, and because of that, she worked. And so it was either you do this thing or you do this thing.
Yeah.
You can't have it all.
You can't have it all. And so that was very formative for me. My mother was divorced when she was 36, and she hadn't gone to college. And she hadn't had any job skills because she'd stayed at home with us. And so she found herself 36 years old, 2 babies to feed, an enormous house that she couldn't pay for. And she had to go to work. She got 3 jobs to put food on the table. And of course, my dad, he I don't mean to say that he wasn't loving or present or whatever, but he was, we were with him on the weekends, and she was the one banging it out.
Right. Day
every
in and
morning.
day out.
Yeah. And of course I didn't have any appreciation of that then, but I do now. And looking back, I know how much it shaped the path that I chose, because I didn't ever want to be in that powerless position. So education for me was, I know now after years and years of therapy, sort of an idol. I felt if I could achieve enough, then I'd never find myself in that powerless position. So that's what I set out to do. And I just collected degrees like some people collect lockets.
Right.
And worked really hard. And then when I was about 38 and I'd finished a doctoral degree, I kind of just had this overwhelming sense of wanting to become a mother. But my body wouldn't cooperate. And so we did all the things. We took the medicines and did the tricks, and we did IVF for a round, and I couldn't even grow a follicle to host an egg after one round. And so after that, we kind of just said, this is the path open to us. If we want to have a child, we're going to adopt, and we set out to do that. I was really resentful of the process. I felt like I was having to market myself.
Right.
And I know now, because I'm a big 3, you are putting yourself out there and people get to reject you every day.
Right.
And rejection is my horrible, awful fear in life, right?
She's talking about the Enneagram, folks.
Yep.
Sorry.
We talk about that a lot.
Sorry.
We talk about it a lot,
What are you guys? What are you? I know you're a 4.
I'm a 4.
I'm an 8.
Yeah.
Oh,
I remember the
I
last
see that,
time
Julie.
we had dinner and Kimberly said, well, I'm a 3. And I was like, I know, it's pretty obvious.
You don't have to tell us, girl.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So it felt like this big, put yourself out there for the most important thing in the world and let people reject you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that was horrible and hurtful. And so it was hard. I didn't share it with anybody because I just couldn't. My family of origin, we'd been through a series of really terrible losses and some unexpected deaths. And I couldn't put that kind of hope in their hearts and then it fall. In January of 2014, I got a phone call, and my nephew, who was 18 years old, had been hit by a car in his just out the curb of his front yard and was killed instantly. Oh. And that was the most devastating event of my life to date. And I really, Sarah will remember well, I really had no idea how I would move forward.
Right.
My faith was completely bankrupt. I was in a position where I just had to believe God loved me. That was all I had. That was all I had. And God was just going to have to hold me because I couldn't do the things.
And like you said, it was on the heels of a great number of losses and change and
in my immediate family. Yeah. And so when that happened with Logan, with my nephew, we sort of put adoption on the back burner and said we have to heal and all these things. And long story short, I just couldn't ever get up the gumption again to put myself out there for another kind of wound. And so we got around to August that year. I had some really intense and deep counseling and healing work over the summer. The word, I was acute, so I had to go every week and sometimes twice a week.
Okay.
And, but it was so helpful and so healing. And through that process, kind of decided we're going to put ourselves back out there. So we, what you have to do, if anybody out there knows, you have to create this profile. And boy, my husband has been a designer. I thought we're going to have the best profile.
Right.
Kind of like your dating website.
Yes. These pictures of us, this story. It was just, it's please put your profile up against ours. Go ahead. Right.
She's not competitive.
No. Right. So we put it out there. We worked with this small agency in Muncie, Indiana, Adoption Connections, that another friend of ours, Aaron Taylor, had used. Sure. And we felt great about that. We put that out there in August. And about 2 weeks later, got a phone call. And they had a client. The client was looking to put together a birth plan. And she happened to be in prison. And her baby she had used drugs.
Okay.
And would we be interested? And we said, we would want to talk to her. We'd have questions, but you can circulate our profile. Well, she passed on us, the lady in the prison.
Oh boy.
So I remember going to lunch with our friend Natalie.
Oh boy. Yeah.
And, talking about this. I had, 2 or 3 people who knew. And she said, I don't, what are you going to do if you get this call? Because I could not, and women who are living in this tension understand. There were some women who were in the process and they shop for the clothes and they build the nursery and they wait. I couldn't do that.
Right.
I didn't have the heart space to do that. I had to just say, I've put this out there and either this baby falls from the sky or it doesn't. Either way, God is good and we're happy with our lives and we're blessed and full.
But are you kidding me? The lady in the prison
passed on us.
On the stock photo portfolio people. Okay.
Yes. So that was the end of September. And then, so I said to Natalie that day, she said, well, if you ever get that call, you just call me and we'll get everybody together and you'll have everything you need that night.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
Yeah. And I was like, well, okay, well, that's our plan.
Yeah.
Well, 2 weeks later, I was sitting on the couch on a Sunday afternoon and the phone rang. And we had just said goodbye to our other mutual friends, Jennifer Wilson and her two boys have been at our house. And I was exhausted from having two little boys in my house and getting them ready for church because JJ was singing. So Aunt Kimmy was left to, and I was just doing that Sunday afternoon flop that people used to do before they had kids. Right. Do you remember? Yep. And,
I could have learned 19 languages in those Sunday afternoons. What was I doing with all my time?
Like it was just going to always be that way.
Right.
Well, so we got this phone call. Long story short, it's our agency. And she says that a woman has come in from the community and doesn't have a birth plan. The hospital has called us. We went to visit her and she has chosen you to parent her child.
Okay.
And if you can be here in an hour, you can sign the papers and you can take your son home tomorrow.
Wow. In an hour.
In an hour.
In an hour. And it was this elation and stupid, what do you do? Like, right.
Oh my gosh.
Was Kevin home?
Kevin was home. We were listening to it on speakerphone. And so I said, I'm just going to throw clothes in a bag. And what's so powerful about this is that every time I've lost someone, I get the phone call and have to throw things in a bag and get there. And you always have to think, is there going to be a funeral? When Logan's accident happened, I said to Kevin, I'm not packing a dress for a funeral.
Right.
And he said, that's fine. Just bring something nice. We'll go out to dinner,
Right.
Mm-hmm. But this time I was packing for a happy reason. And so there was this tug and push and pull of, is this going to fall apart as soon as we get there? This isn't going to happen.
You're going to change your mind.
Right.
You couldn't trust the goodness of it,
Understandably, yeah.
So we pack our bags and I said, I'm just going to go. Should I get ready or should we just go? And Kevin said, I feel like you ought to curl your hair before you meet your son for the first time.
Does he know you or what? Yeah.
So I did. We got there. This young woman had taken perfect care of him. No drugs, no alcohol, which is very unheard of in adoptive situations. He'd passed all his APGAR tests and he was born at 5:28 on October 11th. And at 5:28, October 12th, they wheeled him into us. And, the angels sang. It was just the most beautiful, full circle, miraculous, heavenly moment of my entire life. And I scooped that baby up out of the bassinet and they put on his bassinet, baby boy Majeski. And they said, do you have a name? And we said, we're going to need a minute.
Right. I remember the video of all this. Wow. Yeah.
I posted a photo on Facebook to tell my class that we wouldn't be meeting the next day because voila.
Surprise.
And
I'm a mom.
Literally everyone was just so elated for us.
Yeah.
And we just bask in that for, everybody is still so happy for us. And so all of that goodwill coming at you was just, I was just overwhelmed. It was just an incredible blessing. And, we went home that very first night and, I'll never forget that, Natalie and my friend Ashley and Beth French were there. And so Natalie had just had a baby. He was 7 months old. And so we slept in all of his, baby gowns and stuff. I said, someone call Ralph Lauren. I have a little boy.
Yeah. That truly is what you said. You said, I'm thinking navy and gold, right?
Yeah. That's all I could think was I've got to get here I'm in the hospital and they're like, if you have some clothes to put on, you can put here, me, of all people, my baby is sleeping in a giraffe gown from the hospital because I don't have anything.
Well, and somebody had to bring a car seat. I can't remember
our friend
exactly.
Karen Aiken, who really is an adoptive mother of mine. She really, after my mother passed, she really became that for me in my life.
Yeah.
And so she told Kevin to meet her at Toys R Us in Muncie, and she bought us all the things we needed. We had a car seat, and she got organic formula and all the things.
Right. All the things.
and so that we got home with that, and then Natalie brought clothes and a mama-roo, and we had things for him to sleep in, and Ashley told us how to swaddle him. And then that very next weekend, all of you girls, Sarah was there, came, and there was this enormous, we called it a sip and see. We have those in the South, where all the people come see your baby. And of my entire life, that is my happiest day.
Oh my gosh.
All my girlfriends had gathered in my house. I hadn't slept.
Yeah.
My hair was tied up. I remember taking a shower, but there was no time to wash the hair. So I just twisted. Nobody cared.
No.
Karen made this beautiful blackberry bourbon punch, and there were cakes and blue pumpkins, and everyone celebrated our blessing, and it was just total bliss. And I just feel so eternally grateful. We got Max 9 months after Logan's accident, and in January that very next year, in 2015, we stood in a court to legally sort of do the paperwork in the court of law for his adoption. And I noticed when I signed the paper that it was the 30th. It was 1 year to the date of Logan's accident.
Wow.
That we stood in that courtroom and adopted Max. And I just think that's, only God can write redemption that way. And so a friend of ours, Karen Vale, always calls Max our little healer.
Yeah.
And that's how we see him. That's how we experience him. That's how that's how the gratitude for him just is so overwhelming.
Yeah. So he came in like a wrecking ball, as they say.
Wrecking ball. Yeah.
So 3 years of changing everything.
And he looks like that little Ralph Lauren model.
He does.
I mean, head to toe,
He
sister.
is.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
When
That's
you are a person, a prissy person, and you have a little boy, like I always thought I would have a daughter and put her in bows. And
you had Savannah, or
yes,
Savannah. I remember you would talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, how do we do if it's a little boy? We do Ralph Lauren, and we do hats with everything.
Yeah,
and the bow
ties.
Yeah.
Southern.
So we just adjusted.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. You adjusted well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes those adjustments don't always go well.
No.
Which it kind of leads us into your story you want to forget. Tell us a little bit about how you have experienced motherhood since that day when you got the call.
Yeah. Bring it.
Well, I think that I thought I would just magically turn into this other person who knew how to do all the mommy things. That very first week, like I called my dean and said, I'll see you on Tuesday. I can't be there today.
Okay.
Who was at the time your dad?
It was my dad.
Yeah.
And he said, you have family leave. Like you don't stay home. You don't have to come tomorrow.
Bounce that quickly. Right.
And they were so gracious, but I mean, it never occurred to me that I wouldn't just get up and go to work. I didn't know that you wouldn't sleep for days,
months,
years, even. Yeah.
And there would be days that you couldn't console the child. Before I left the hospital, I had read Baby 411, like the entire night. I stayed up for 24 hours because, of course, I want to be excellent at the thing, right? So I have to read all the books and have all the information. And I remember he had his first growth spurt before I had gotten to that part in whatever book I was reading, what to expect. And
when you're
in the first year. Yeah. I mean, that was my Bible. And I didn't know what that was. And so because I couldn't ascribe what was happening to it, I had to call the doctor and,
Right.
So I guess the thing that I want to forget is that I had these unbelievable and unrealistic expectations that I held myself to. And I was disappointed and hard on myself a lot of the time when I didn't have to be.
Right.
I just needed to be present. Right? Like, isn't it Glennon Doyle or who says, your job? No, I think it's Rachel Hollis, that your whole job is just like keep your baby alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing that,
24 hours.
You're killing it. If that's what
Right.
And I remember his first doctor checkup. We went and I had overslept and like I had dried saliva on my face and I took my baby in his nightgown.
Right.
And I took all the papers of we had been given his feedings and his poops.
Sure.
Because it was data I thought she needed.
Right.
Yep. Here's all my data.
Here's my research.
Yeah.
And she says, "Oh, you can keep that.
Scantron machine. I should stick this in." Or
It's like, she's like, "You can keep that." Like,
I
I
have
don't.
a few pivot tables I thought we could go over together.
right. It is funny that they give you those forms. It's kind of for show.
But I did it, Sarah.
Right. Oh yeah,
I did.
I mean, we all do the first time around.
First time around.
Yeah.
I did it, and I'm holding this baby and shopping for a nursery and trying to like put stuff on the, so people that I need. I don't know what I need. Mm-hmm. But my community really just came in and saved us. And I really don't think until about 14 months had passed that I finally said, okay, you can either like, be down on yourself and wish you were somebody else, mm-hmm. or you can be who you are and love this baby.
Right.
My best friend from home, I don't know if you saw my Facebook, her baby just got married this weekend.
Yeah.
So her baby's 24, mine's 4.
Uh-huh.
But she came up, she's Max's godmom, and she came up, I think it was somewhere around right after his first birthday or whatever. And she came up, we enjoyed each other. We watched, Notre Dame football. We sat around, we talked, we didn't go anywhere. I didn't cook anything. We ordered a pizza for lunch and then we heated up that for dinner and we just flabbed and held the baby. And she was leaving and I said, "I'm so sorry, Erica. I can't believe I didn't take you anywhere. I didn't cook dinner for you."
Right.
I could have catered something in. And I said, "Next time you come, I'll cook." She said, "Why?
Are you kidding
me?" Right.
She said, "We aren't cooks."
Right.
And that hit me. It was like, you are right. I have never been a cook.
Right.
I am never going to be I'm not that girl.
Yep.
Did you forget that your stove hasn't worked? And
my stove hadn't worked since the week before we brought Max home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our dryer broke that
2
week.
years. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we were killing it.
Right. Yeah.
Now I have an electric skillet and I have a microwave.
Right. It's all you need to do you.
Yeah. It's my big camping.
Yeah.
But, right. That's what we do. Like we order from the country club or we drive through something or we heat up, organic noodles. Like we don't.
Right.
I had registered for a baby food maker. You guys are laughing because our friend, my friend Allie was like, "What is this doing on here?"
Right.
You are not going to make.
Right.
But I had my stepbrother, his girlfriend, and he had a baby 6 weeks before me, and she did all those things.
Okay.
Grew her vegetables, cooked them, strained them, froze them.
Right.
And so here I am.
Right. Trying to till the garden to grow your own stuff. Right.
I'm trying to picture that in my mind right now.
It's like, Julie, it's like I lost all sense of who I was. And I wanted to be this ideal mom. Everything he ate was organic.
Right.
Everything I put on him was organic. Everything he came, I wouldn't burn candles in my house because they had toxins in them.
Of course, unless they were soy.
They were only soy.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
And then, one day he goes over to Hillary's, to play and they have like the box mac and cheese.
Yeah.
And he comes home and he's like, "I want Hillary's noodles."
Exactly.
She didn't have wax candles, did she?
I don't know. But her kids are beautiful and alive.
Right.
And I was like, "You like that macaroni and cheese? Mom, I don't want this macaroni and cheese. I want Hillary's noodles."
Right.
Oh my God.
Right. What have I done?
I had one last story and then you guys can talk.
But we're just here to talk. We're here to listen.
This is the perfect example. I saw on Pinterest, and that's the other thing. Why did we get on Pinterest?
Yep. That was my next thought. I just
what are we doing on Pinterest? I got on Pinterest and I saw, and I was like, "What are we going to do with the Christmas tree?" Because he's going to be climbing all on it. This is for his Christmas when he's a year old. What am I going to do? I want him to have a special Christmas. We can't put the tree up because he's going to climb it and he's going to knock all my beautiful things. So I thought, I'm I'm going to go to the fabric store. I saw this thing on Pinterest, but it's like a felt Christmas tree.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
We've done that too.
Ornaments. And then I just never did go to the fabric store. And then I thought, you know what? Damn it. I am going to go onto Etsy and have one of these girls who does this and is this kind of person.
Right. The little hipster from Portlandia.
Yep. I'm going to order from her.
Right.
And then I'm going to get my felt tree out of the mailbox and put it on the wall and call it Christmas.
Yeah.
And my life has been different ever since that day.
That's a problem we can fix.
That's a problem we can fix.
That's right. I have wanted to for years just get one of those decals, because even the felt thing, I know we'll lose pieces and all that. Just a decal you put on the wall for Christmas. Oh. But everyone's thought it was a little too Scroogey. And I'm like, that's just resourceful.
Yeah. But you have all these projects that you do that are artistic and creative.
She's so artistic.
And you have
I'm surprised you're not the one getting the felt and putting it on the wall yourself.
Well, she does those things. You have the backpacks
it's just
hanging.
Don't let her fool you, folks.
It's just an outlet for me. Okay. I need that.
I get that.
Yeah.
Because you are creative.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, I would hire somebody to cook, to clean, to run my bath water and drive me everywhere if I could.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Let's be honest.
Right. Yes. So your story makes me think about a time. Okay. So a few years back, I was still homeschooling. This was pre-twins.
Oh,
and, it was this same time of year because we went to a pumpkin patch that was one of the other families in the co-op had it. And as I pulled up to the house, I had Soren. She would have been first or second, first grade, and Joseph a couple years behind her. And then a baby in a carrier was Anna. And pulled up and I saw this idyllic, like white farmhouse. And this lady had these turquoise hunter boots lining the porch, the front porch. And she turned them into planters. And I thought, this is the life I should be living. We're going to, see the eggs and we're going to milk the cows and we're going to learn about science. And Joseph, I almost lost him multiple times while we were there, but he almost got hit by a car before we left because there's people coming in. I couldn't do it. I didn't like the smell. I didn't like anything about it. I was like, how the hell would I learn science or teach science? This would not work. And it was that feeling of, this is the life I want to pin, not the life I want to live.
Yes.
And that same thing as a mom, like that's the mom I just need to pin. Like she might do this and this and this. And I can be in that little escapist world for a day, but that's not really who I am or who I need to be or want to be.
Yeah.
Just look at her as like a fine piece of art in the world that she has curated and just enjoy it on the outside.
And I can just and I'm not the only person. Like I can get so caught up. Again, this is 3. I can get so caught up in the presentation of the thing that I don't live the thing.
Right.
And my anxiety goes off the charts. And so, I'm always in recovery of that. But I mean, like this weekend at the wedding, I didn't have any help. I didn't have a sitter. So I had to take my 3-year-old to a wedding while I did a rehearsal and a service. And, of course, my friends at home were like, hey, we have kids. He's fine.
Right.
He's just, and he sat on my, best friend's stepson, his knee during the service. And then when I pronounced the husband and wife and they walked up, he came right up with me because I told him he was my assistant and he wanted to tell people to go eat. And who cares?
My gosh, right.
Who cares?
Right.
We had the best weekend because I just let it be.
Oh yeah. They're not show ponies.
No, you just let it be. They're not
horsey
show
friends.
ponies. I know. Right. I know. No.
Man.
So Kimberly, how, if you are a recovering 3 or a healthy 3 for other moms out there that might be 3 and have that same anxiety about being the best mom and the competitive mom and my kid's going to be the cutest and the smartest and the most athletic or whatever the most
all
is.
The things.
All the things. How do you combat that on a daily basis? Like, what are you doing to combat that?
Well, early on I started, and I might have learned this from Sarah. Like, I am so grateful. Sarah will post, you will post the ugly. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You post behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. And I'm so always grateful for moms to do that.
I could just never get the stage set. All I have is behind the scenes.
Well, then I started thinking, like, I got to let people know.
Yeah.
Like, my house is a wreck all the time. Uh-huh. Do you know? Like, because
I do know.
Who wants to put all the toys up? Because he's going to get them out tomorrow.
Right.
So I'm just going to leave the train set out, you know, and then we'll clean it up when people come over.
Right.
I remember asking one of my friends, like, how often should I be mopping the floor? Like, he's crawling on the floor. Like, I don't know if I've mopped the floor.
Still a thing?
Yeah. And she's like, I haven't mopped my floor since I had a child.
Right.
Do you know? Like,
yeah.
So I think what helped me, Julie, was my community kind of telling the truth about their lives and letting me see behind the curtain. And because I lived in relationship with real women, I was able to see that, like, it's not all Pinterest and Joanna Gaines. I mean, God bless her. But we have even talked about Joanna Gaines. Like, she's so beautiful, and she's so, I don't know how they build houses and milk the cows.
Right.
And the kids always look beautiful. Like, whatever.
Right.
Whatever.
They have people.
A lot of people.
They have people.
They have help.
People. Yeah.
They have
And that's
people.
okay. But
We
they have help.
need people.
We need people.
Can we get some people?
That's right.
Right.
Well, our people are each other.
That's
you know?
true.
And so that's what we can do is we tell the truth about our lives. And that gave me freedom to say, okay, what you think it is not what it is.
Right.
And to just kind of maybe say in my house, like, crawl down the crazy tree.
Right. Right. So go back to expand on that a little bit more, even earlier on when you said you can't have it all. Mm-hmm. As far as, you know, you are still powering through as a teacher and speaker and running an organization and motherhood. And I just saw that picture the other day of you and Max, and it looked like the definition of peace. I don't know if you saw that, Julie. I mean, he's just on your chest, and that look in your eyes. Clearly you are, I don't mean slaying both, like it's the picture of perfection, because that's just not a truthful statement about any of us, but you're doing both, and there's love in both, and there's hard work in both, and there's passion in both. So go back to that idea about can't have it all. What does that, would you say that's still true? Or would you say there's a version of, well, I do and I can? And
yeah, I guess the definition of all has changed for me.
Yeah.
You know, before I had Max, I mean, I had traveled to 5 continents. I've been around the world. So I had Max later in life. So I feel like a lot of things that I wanted to accomplish, I've done those things.
Right.
So I feel like if I had been a mother earlier in life, I might have resented that I didn't get to do some things. But because it came later in life, I was ready for it. And I was ready to pack this part over here away and be a mother. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But then, you know, now he's about to be 4. And so, you know, I've really pretty much come off the speaking circuit. I haven't traveled at all since he's been born. I made a trip to Rome for 8 days, but that's it. And now I'm ready to kind of get back into that. And so that will mean I have to have more support at home, helpers, and all the things. But if mommy travels and does those things, then we're able to do things as a family that we might not be able to do if mommy didn't do these things.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
What you saw in that picture was truth. You know, that's the very first family photos we've ever done when I was relaxed.
Yeah.
I was just like, not upset about my hair, I was like, you know what? This is a beautiful day. Let's go take some pictures. And I was like, he was running, playing football on the golf course. There were mosquitoes everywhere. And that was like one of the last shots. And I was like, we're not going to get anything good, but who cares?
Man, you could feel it. We have to make sure we include that when this is fired up.
Yeah. I loved how it turned out, because it was a moment when I wasn't anxious and I wasn't trying to control stuff. And so, you know, but then this morning he screamed and cried and held onto my leg at the preschool. So, you know, that was a really hard moment.
Sure.
And, But I didn't feel like I shouldn't go to work. I just felt it was unfortunate that he was having a hard time with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I definitely think me being the best me that I can be is the best thing for him.
Mm-hmm.
And,
well, that's everything. I mean, you're the only,
that's right.
The only you.
That's right.
That was made for him.
And I'm not, I think that a stay-at-home mother is the most noble profession. And I think they ought to earn money. And I think that, I think it's the hardest job in the world. And I'm not built for it. Mm-hmm. And I am certain about that. And so I try, we have a Maximami Day every week. On Friday is our day. And I'm a really good mom because I can spend that whole day with him and he gets my time and attention. And I'm not trying to do 15 other things.
Right.
So I can do those things on the other days. Mm-hmm. When I was trying to do the thing where I had him a portion of each day, I wasn't as good at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's hard. You just kind of learn like the way that you can thrive and then try to build your life around that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I want to chime in with one thing. I didn't really ask your permission to share, something you advised me on just today. I was thinking about my own traveling on the worship leader circuit, concert circuit, and thinking, of course it's a little different because the sheer number of children that I have, but I was thinking, well, it's one thing to put it aside to focus on being home more, but the babies, thank the Lord, have kept coming, and it's been a decade now, and I still have 2 3-year-olds. And so I've been kind of obsessed about doing the math. Okay, so let's say that's 20 years that I put it aside, and I'm probably only really going to even be traveling for 30 maybe. So like, is that it, or do I tweak? And I loved that you, Kimberly, were saying today, who I am with my youngest doesn't need to be who I am or who I was with my oldest. It doesn't need to be the same. It needs to just match this season. And I find myself feeling guilty a lot about, well, we traveled or we homeschooled or we this or that, and I was present, but there's just so much that is different, and I can only answer for right now.
That's right.
And that was a great reminder for today in this season for me.
Yeah, you can only be who you are right now and give what you have to give. And I think probably a lot of moms who have multiple kids. I mean, I have a lot of friends in your story who have older kids and then younger kids. And I mean, I hope you're doing a session on your own story because
we are.
Because what is it like because you're in this stage, you have grown kids and there's a different kind of attention they need, and then to also have the babies.
Yeah.
And either one of those is exhausting, but to have that at the same time,
it's hard.
The bedtimes are different. That space, that margin just is not there. And the pressure to be, to give these kids the same lifestyle that you gave the older kids, it's going to be the same in terms of wonderful, but it might be different in its delivery.
Yeah, the logistics but I think it comes down to that defining all.
Yeah.
When you talk about whether you can or can't have it all, well, what is your all going to be?
What is your all?
Yeah.
And I think that shifts, and I think we have to get to have seasons when it's one thing and another season when it's the other. And I think that's good and healthy. And I think we're our own worst enemy. We're harder on ourselves than anybody else. And that's why it's good to have sister girls, who you can say like, what I am, this is like, I did it today. Like
right.
this is, I'm not going to make it through.
I lived a week today. Yes, that's right.
Well, we are so grateful that you have spent this hour with us sharing your story.
Thank you so much.
And I'm excited for this next part. At the end of each of our interviews, we have a fun activity. And I think I'm crossing my fingers, you may be the only person who actually gets this.
Did I know about this? I didn't know about this.
No, it's a surprise.
You don't know about this. Do you watch the Notre Dame Irish weekly football TV show?
Most of the time. The one on after the game.
The one where they have the 60-second hot seat at the end.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I got this idea.
Okay, yeah, so go Irish.
Yes. Yeah, because
I didn't know if you meant that there's a show on Showtime about
No, not that one. But
I watch all the shows.
I know you watch all the Notre Dame.
Because you didn't say anything about Notre Dame before, but that was specifically where you last studied, right?
Yes, that's where I last studied, and that's where my son will play football.
Yes, that's right.
Mark it down.
Be like Rudy too.
Okay. Oh no, he's got to be Rudy. He's going to be a starter, right?
Okay,
Yeah,
right.
Rudy was a little scrawny.
Okay, I'm sorry, but the gist, the feel. Come on, I don't know anything about football. I just know people chanted his name.
Yes. So I love that they end each week with the hot seat.
Yes. Okay.
So we have our own version called the mom seat.
Oh, cute.
Okay. So I'm going to read through this list. Mm-hmm. You have to give me one word answers, the first thing that comes to your mind.
You got it.
Here we go. Disposable or cloth?
Disposable.
Bottle or breast?
Bottle.
Pinterest mom or Amazon Prime?
Amazon Prime.
Jeans or yoga pants?
Yoga.
Top knot or ponytail?
Ponytail.
Home birth or hospital?
Hospital.
Chore chart or managing chaos?
Managing chaos.
Gender reveal or find out when it pops out?
Gender reveal.
Instagram or Facebook?
Insta.
Homemade or store-bought?
Store-bought.
Lullabies or sound machine?
Oh, lullabies.
5 servings of veggie per day or month?
Month.
President of the PTA or I'll send in some goldfish?
Oh, president of the PTA.
Bubble bath and a good book or girls' night out?
Girls' night out.
Weekly meal plan or McDonald's drive-thru?
McDonald's drive-thru.
Homeschool or go to school?
Go to school.
In your home, Freebird or robed up?
Robed up.
Your favorite parenting resource?
Friends.
Your favorite place to buy kids' clothing?
Ralph Lauren.
Good job.
Yay. Yay.
That is the mom seat.
That's so fun, you guys.
Well, we receive your stories feeling very honored that you shared them.
Oh, so fun to be with you. Thanks.
Yeah, we just think the world of you. So thank you for joining us.
Back at ya, girls.
Well, we hope you will come back next week on the Momnesia podcast, where we're going to share more stories before Momnesia sets in and we forget it all. Have a great week.
Bye-bye. Today's episode of Momnesia was recorded at Grace Church in Noblesville, Indiana, with original music by Phil Larson. Make sure to check out Grace's podcast, Between Sundays, and Phil's music at Spotify or iTunes.